Train 2 in the books.
It is done. Day of the deadlift.
So now what we're going to talk about is just kind of breaking down the workout, what we did, why we did it, and our thoughts during and after it.
Mm-hmm. I think it seems important to us. So we're going to start off with the warm-up. We do our own separate warm-up things, but they both involve kind of a dynamic element. So you're kind of hopping around, you're testing some of the stabilizers within kind of, the ankle and the knee and the hip, and I guess the lower back as well. Kind of using the Bosu ball, a lot of stretching, core activation, and then pretty much just kind of activating the actual muscle groups to be bearing the load during the deadlift.
Specifically, the one that you did that I liked that I then also did was you put the Bosu ball down on the flat side and you step from one foot to the other, hopping and using the adductors. I found add is in, by the way, because you add your legs together.
Okay.
And then so you use your adductors to pull yourself from one side to the other.
Yeah, so you're kind of hopping from one, like that-ish. I don't know if I ever caught all that. But yeah, so that was kind of the warm-up, and then right into that, we went to the corrective deadlifts, which to me was really still part of the warm-up. And that was really focused on the eccentric, which is really, really useful because it helps you to kind of understand how those motor units are working within the hip and the knee and your lower back. And so that was enormously helpful to me. I've actually never done those before.
Yeah, it really helps me knit my low ribs in, too.
Absolutely, yeah, kind of understanding how to really cinch that in because you don't really ever focus on that.
Yeah.
But so the corrective deadlifting, that was kind of the final aspect of the warm-up, really. And after that, we pretty much just kind of went and wait until... So I did a pyramid for mine, and then you did...
I did a pyramid, too.
Oh, you did a pyramid as well? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I was not focusing on it, yeah.
You were in your zone.
I was in the zone, oh yeah, definitely. Pyramids on that, and then kind of just really for the sake of kind of seeing where you could go and testing some limits, because you haven't deadlifted in a while. And
it's literally been... Because it was in September. Right now, it's beginning of March.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, basically half a year.
And it's still been for me, I think a couple weeks at least. Probably at least. I mean, I can't remember. Because I spaced it out because I go so hard that then you need that time to just recover from it, frankly. But yeah, so...
What'd you hit?
Oh, yeah. Actually, so I PR'd twice. I hadn't ever gone above 4 or 5 on the flat bar or deadlift. And I actually went 425 for a rep, and that felt so easy, frankly. And then I hit 455 next, and the form was actually still pretty solid. There was really... there was no particular issue. I didn't, pause on it. There wasn't, the back just bending really over horribly. Yeah, it was good. And then I didn't go higher than 455 because of the fact that I got the form right on the 455. But I was also tired because it's 455.
You battled for that one. That was a battle.
Yeah, definitely. That was the one where it slowed down. So I was like, all right, I'm going to drop the weight now. And then went to 405 for 3 reps and then 315 for 10 reps, that was pretty fucking sick. That was, in a way, almost cooler because, you already hit the PR and then you can go for 10 reps at 315, that was solid. So, yeah, the deadlift's pretty sweet. I was happy with that.
Yeah, I was happy too. I think the corrective deadlifting definitely helped. And I was stoked on the fact that I was able to actually pull up 275. I'm interested to see how, by the end of the year, how much stronger I can get that.
Oh, definitely. I think it'll get a lot stronger, because, again, just doing it more often, kind of initiating that, sequence of the motor units is really... That's what helps the deadlift the most, honestly.
So after the deadlift, we went and did farmer's carries, or farmer's walks, whatever you want to call them, with a... What do you call that? Trap bar? Hex bar? Whatever they call them.
Yeah, whatever I go with.
But, first set I did 185, and that ended up being pretty easy, so then I did 225. Now, the format we actually did for those was 2 deadlifts, walk, I want to say about 15 yards, and then 2 deadlifts, turn, 2 deadlifts, walk back, 2 deadlifts.
Yeah, and that's one set, and then we did that twice. So he did it with 185, and then you found that too easy, so you did 225, which sadly I missed that set because I was distracting the staffs.
But we got it on footage.
Exactly, so we could get it on footage, which that was sick, though. And then I started out with 315, and then realized I was, as I was walking, noticing that, my stability, especially in kind of the middle area of my back, was just... It wasn't where I wanted it to be at that point, so I was like, all right, I'm going to drop this down. So I did 275 for the second set, which felt a lot more solid. I think that was definitely a good idea. I think if part of it, I don't think I could have gripped 315 at that point, honestly. Yeah. It was just fucking toast.
And then after that, we did some, what do you call them, landmine T-bar rows?
Yeah.
So the landmine, I just learned this from him, is that the bar actually inserts into a socket that's about 6 inches or so off the ground, and so it's initially at a down point, so it's harder to move the weight because... You're moving it from a higher point as opposed to here.
So it's in a joint, basically. So it's like the pivot joint thing, and then you stick the barbell into it, and then you row basically off of that. So my understanding is it's a little bit harder because of the fact that it is raised up. That's my understanding. If I'm wrong, forgive me. You can tar and feather me in the comments if you wish. But so we did some of those to failure. And
the important thing there was that, so if you look in the first set, Lachlan's much more hinged over than I am. His back is like this and mine's like this. And I asked him why he was doing that, and it turns out that it's just a whole different activation of muscles the more hinged over you are.
Exactly, because you'll see a lot of guys, especially, it's the funniest thing to me, frankly. You go and they'll load up like 4 or 5 plates on the thing, and they'll stand up and seriously, like, they're bent over, like, they're literally like this, and you're pretty much just shrugging it at that point. You're like, what are you really doing with that, you know? The idea, I think, I mean, it also depends on what you're trying to train, but the idea there is, like, when you bend over more, for one, you're activating a lot more of the core and the glutes and hamstrings to maintain stability. But for 2, you're actually activating a lot more of the lats and a lot more of the rhomboids and kind of the and the middle trapezius rather than just the upper part. So it makes it more effective.
And your entire posterior chain too, like from the
True.
bottoms
Yeah,
of your
absolutely.
feet all the way up to your hands from your
100%.
back.
100%. So it's a really beneficial exercise. I think burning out on it too was just that was good because again you're just absolutely toasting. I mean you can see how far like the shoulders got drawn forward. I think at least that's how it felt on mine. And then you have to pull all that way back up. So it's just the traps are completely spread down. They have to, you know, crunch up again. So it's actually, I think that was a good finisher. Actually, almost finisher.
Wasn't even the finisher.
I know, really.
Because then after
God.
that, we went and hit 2 sets of pull-ups to failure. First pull-ups with the arms forward, and then chin-ups reversed.
Yeah, which again, the idea was to toast the grip, so then that can get stronger, and then the other purpose was really kind of just to hit the other muscles that we didn't hit in that workout because. You don't hit the lats quite as much while you're deadlifting. You just don't.
No, mine felt pretty, like,
I guess when you
not
walk
tired.
out at the top. Oh, yeah,
they
yeah.
didn't feel very tired.
Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's kind of... When you walk out at the top of the deadlift, you're definitely going to be activating some of that. And, I mean, the lower lats are going to be activated while you're trying to, like, when you're lifting the weight. But, I mean, you know, kind of the upper and also kind of the teres major isn't really quite as activated until the top. So
what'd you
my
do?
Understanding of it.
Yeah, so then we hit the pull-ups. Then what'd you do after?
After the pull-ups, so warming down basically, just a couple stretches, figure 4 stretch thing is what you called it.
Yeah, it's when you take one ankle, you put it over the knee of the other foot, and then you pull that towards your chest as you're activating that top foot to protect your knee. That'll stretch the outer glute of the top leg.
Which for me is a very tight muscle group, and especially if you're doing deadlifts that were as heavy as I did, I definitely wanted to work on that. So that, and then kind of just hamstring stretches, releasing the lower back, stretching out the trapezius and the rhomboids. That was really about it. Also, this is a great stretch. Stretching out the upper traps. It's always so damn hard to stretch those.
Oh, yeah.
One hand here, one hand on the back of the head. Kind of pushing your chest and pull out. And when you do that, you're going to be stretching the upper trapezius and kind of the neck as it kind of flows into the skull. The head. So that's a good stretch. I did that one as well. So I think that's all I can think of in terms of commentary. I think if you guys are going to do it, definitely do a really solid warm-up. Do the corrective deadlifting in the beginning. And then go ham. But, you know, like, don't shoot too far past your limits. Like, you don't want to completely fuck yourself up. So, that's all I have to say.
Done.